Hello and welcome to day 3, our final day of Internet Librarian Connect. We had a great day yesterday, starting with Beth Rudden. And I have to say, our AI stream was packed with people learning about what's happening in the world of AI. What does it mean for libraries? And we know that we're going to continue that theme at Computers and Libraries in March in DC. So watch for more coming your way on AI. Our library management stream was so vibrant with wonderful library leaders and great discussions with the audience. It was terrific. Lots of people were learning about new spatial and technology-based platforms. And so that was really fun. Our sandbox worked very well for people to try out things and learn a little bit more about that. So lots of stuff going on. And our lead lounge at the end of the day, again, was terrific. And if you haven't had a chance to check out that platform, come today. This is our last day, and we'll be talking about what we've heard, what we've learned, what we want to hear more about, and we value feedback. And so I want to alert you that there will be an online survey come to you in the near future, and we value, as I say, your feedback, and we learn from it, and we use it in future events. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for engaging with our speakers and our topics. And without further ado, I want to introduce our speaker this morning. Kirthi is our speaker, and she started this program she's going to tell us about when she was in high school. She wanted to make a difference, and she wanted to volunteer. And the program ended up being a lot bigger than she anticipated, and libraries played an important part, and she and her partner tapped into that, and we want to hear all about it. So take it away, Kirthi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. My name is Kirthi, and today I'm going to be presenting to you about a program that my friend and I started in high school called Team STEAM. So a little bit about myself. I am a freshman studying business at NYU Stern. I am concentrating in finance and sustainable business, and some hobbies of mine are I love to run, I love traveling, and I love teaching. All throughout high school, I did lots of different teaching roles. I worked at a tutoring center called Kumon. I did every mentoring role I could find. And so that was really pivotal to the formation of this program and what we do today. So to start, what is STEAM? So STEAM has kind of been this word I feel like that's thrown around a lot. And so it's just an acronym, and it stands for science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And I think the really, really unique thing about STEAM is it sort of bridges this gap that exists between the more quantitative STEM and arts and humanities. And so it brings these two facets of education together under one umbrella. And I think at the end of the day, it really creates a very holistic and encompassing environment for young students. Being a business degree at university, I can really attest to the importance of STEAM because despite being in a business course and taking lots of quantitative heavy classes, there is this strong emphasis on the humanities. And I think that that really shapes my perspective and makes me a global business leader. And also, I think something else that's very important to the concept of STEAM is that it's very interactive and engaging. There's this real hands-on concept, hands-on aspect to STEAM that I think permeates through all the through the students, and it just makes it a very exciting and innovative topic. So why is STEAM so important, and why should STEAM be emphasized in different educational settings? So I think the first thing that STEAM really provides is it really helps students develop fundamental problem solving skills through a creative lens. So STEAM is all about problem solving, and it's all about coming up with unique out of the box solutions to difficult problems. And I think especially in the 21st century, I think we can all say that our world is riddled with problems. And so really sort of shaping and nurturing future generations to be able to tackle these hard problems and give them a foundation to rise up to the occasion and apply creativity and bring unique perspectives to solve real life problems is important. And I think STEAM is also super important, I think, to students' development because it goes beyond just instilling core academic skills. I think it also instills these sort of soft skills, such as collaboration and communication. So STEAM is very group based. So there's a lot of compromise that has to take place, lots of communication and discussion that needs to be facilitated between individuals. And so being able to sort of develop these skills at a very young age and work to build these important lifelong qualities, I think, is another way that STEAM sort of defines. And I think STEAM is very important to education. And then I think just the nature of STEAM and how it's very error prone helps students build confidence and resilience. STEM is all about trial and error and about solving problems. So at times problems can be daunting. So teaching students that problems are good and that failure is expected and that failure is actually, I think, success in a way, builds resilience and confidence in students. And I think that's essential for 21st century. And then I think lastly, and something that's I think increasingly important is that STEAM really sets students up for high demand careers. I think a recent statistic came out according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics that said that there will be about a 10.8% growth in career opportunities relating to STEM up until the year 2031. And so this just shows that I think the opportunities for STEAM have just started. They're going to continue growing, and we want to allow students to understand the importance, but also kind of get a head start and really shape them to have these sort of high demand careers. So kind of with that background on STEAM, what is Team STEAM? So Team STEAM is a nonprofit. So we are a 501c3, and we are a free introductory engineering program targeted at elementary age students. So students particularly ages 4 to 10. So our program, we work with a local business based out of Connecticut called Three Ducks Design, and they make these architectural modeling kits that I think you can see in the photo below. So using these architectural modeling kits, myself and a bunch of my friends, we developed a whole curriculum and lessons and videos that use these cardboard kits. And using that, we're able to create this engineering program that sort of cultivates engineering, basic science concepts, all sort of channeled through the idea of creativity and independence. And Team STEAM, again, is run by all high school students. So we're the ones that do all of the teaching in person. We do the behind the scene works, the fundraising, the lesson planning, the development. And I think that's something that's really unique about our program. And overall, it just gives these young students a safe, fun, and hands-on activity to do in order to tap into STEAM and really just get a introductory experience. So Team STEAM, how it started was, it was kind of a byproduct of the COVID pandemic. So our program started in 2020, and it really started as a result of the lack of student engagement in extracurriculars, and particularly STEM extracurriculars. Growing up, I was involved with so many after school programs that were STEM related. I think I did Girls Who Code, robotics, like mad science after school. And so when the pandemic really hit, it was really disappointing and upsetting to see so many young students not be able to have these experiences, because I believe they were such a crucial part of my childhood. And so this started as a way just to get students to do something hands-on after school, after Zoom school, just staring at a computer screen. And when we started, our program was through Zoom. So it was 100% virtual. And it kind of looked like the setup that was here. We'd have a volunteer and then some students, and we'd all build our projects together, kind of following the lesson plan that would be on the screen. And it was a really good opportunity for us high school students, because we were still able to volunteer and give back to our community. But it was also really inspiring, and to see the young students kind of their faces light up and be able to still have some sort of connection with the outside world, but also with STEAM. And it was really difficult at first, though, to teach kind of a 3D class, something that's very hands-on, very interactive through a 2D Zoom platform. But it was something that we enjoyed doing, and it was something that really resonated with us high schoolers, and I think with the students as well. So from there, we sort of had this like transition. Once the pandemic started to dwindle, we made this shift from exclusively teaching virtual sessions to in person. And libraries were really the foundation to this switch. So when I first wanted to switch things up and move from virtual to in person, I thought of what would be different organizations and establishments that already had the foundation to run a program like this. And the first thing I could think of was our local library, where I did a lot of the STEM sessions growing up. So the Wilton Library is a library in the town that I lived in. So I reached out to them and I was like, hey, we do this program online. I'm with the COVID pandemic starting to slow down a little bit. We were wondering if you'd be willing to do in person. So I sort of traveled through the library and bureaucracy, speaking with heads of the departments and eventually individuals that scheduled programming. And we started with a 4-week session. So it was 4 weeks, 4 consecutive weeks, each an hour. And the first session we had, it was fully booked and it had a full wait list. And I think that was sort of a pivotal moment in Team STEAM, and it sort of flipped a switch in my head, because I was able to see the potential of this program and really see what we could do with it. Because being online, I mean, there was always just a little bit of a disconnect. But once we were able to sort of establish ourselves in a library, it was really awesome to see that the interest from the high schoolers was reciprocated from the students and their parents as well. And so the coolest part is that today with the Wilton Library, we've taught over 40 independent sessions. And so that spanned across a 2-year relationship that we've fostered with the Wilton Library. So on the right here, we have our first session, which we did a bridge building session. And then from there, we just kept going and we kept developing more lessons. Down below, we have our tiny house lesson. And on the left, we have a cardboard car lesson. So it's really nice to see that the program within the Wilton Library has continued to stay popular, has continued to stay, have interest, and we've been able to do this for almost 2 years. So where is Team STEAM today? So today, Team STEAM has proudly impacted over 600 students across the world. And this is, we've taught students in over 6 different states. And today we've really been focusing on helping high schoolers in other communities start their own chapters. So in Connecticut, our reach is only so far. Like there's only so much we can do within our area, with just given the limited number of organizations and just our confined area. But we've been partnering with other high school students that are interested in starting their own programs, and we've helped them start chapters within their local communities. So right now we have a student in Boston. We have a student at a university in London who is working on her own Team STEAM program. And then I think we have 2 more students in a suburb in Chicago that work at a community center and lead their own Team STEAM chapters. And so within Connecticut, we are in 10 different in-person locations. And to date, we've developed 25 unique lessons that all align with the core curriculum. So the core education, the STEM education standards. And in our Connecticut branch, we have over 20 high school mentors that help with all the work from teaching the sessions to behind the scenes work, such as emailing, fundraising, lesson development. And this summer, we'd actually listed out we'd written out numbers as to how many students we taught. And I just was going back and I looked at it, and our goal in 2023 was 600 students. And today we've impacted just over 600. So it's really cool that we get to work with all these students. And I feel like we've made a difference in helping these students out. And so on the right are a few examples of some lessons. So we have a building bridge lesson, we have a windmill and farm lesson, and those are the projects that some students have done in the past. So during this journey of expanding the program and going to different in-person centers and working to help other high schoolers start their own Team STEAM, I kind of started to look into maybe running this program at different community centers and churches and after school programs. And so in Bridgeport, Connecticut, in the city of Bridgeport, Connecticut, I found a community center called the McGivney Community Center. And this was sort of the first time Team STEAM shifted from working with libraries to community centers in inner city areas. So with this area sort of had it didn't have as robust of a STEM program there. So we donated kits and we had to adapt our lessons to classrooms without technology or smart boards. And so this was definitely like a challenge, but it just kind of showed how the program was adaptable and we were able to sort of shift it to meet the needs of different communities. And so when we were working with these students, we also found that because their schools didn't have as strong of a STEM-based education as other communities, we realized that these students needed more guidance and they needed a little bit more help. But it was nice because we'd gone there for over 2 years, but for the chunk of time that we'd go season by season. And within a season, we realized that working with the same students, we saw the firsthand impact that this program had and how a consistent exposure to STEAM was able to really develop their skills. And by the end, they were very independent and they needed minimal guidance, and they were very, very building awesome projects. I think at the bottom we have Chris and Nathaniel, and they built their bridge. There's some towers back there and our skyscraper project. And this sort of led to our shift as a program. So recently we sort of took this shift to making sure that we're fighting educational injustice. So I guess our Team STEAM mission statement is making STEAM possible for everyone, everywhere. And so, working with the McGivney Community Center, I really recognize that there's a discrepancy between resources and exposure to STEAM. So a lot of these areas, inner city areas that had limited resources, didn't, like, their students never had the opportunity to get engaged with STEAM and STEAM related activities. So we really sort of shifted our mission into making sure that we were able to provide STEAM and help students get exposed to STEAM, such an important aspect of education from an early age. So today we've tried to donate STEAM kits to those communities that have limited resources. So I think today we've donated just over 25 kits to local community centers in our area. And then we've also worked with the company that whose kits we use, and we've created a policy where we get a percentage back on the kits that are purchased. And so every single kit that's purchased on behalf of Team STEAM gets reinvested into our organization. And so that way we have the funding to provide more kits to other community centers, but also sustain our organization and help it grow and help it reach as many individuals as possible. And then sort of the last aspect of tapping into or attempting to sort of bridge the gap in education is we've been applying to a lot of grants to help fund different kits. So this has been especially important to, again, buy kits, but also just give opportunities to students who might not have them. So within our community, we've worked with the Triangle Community Center, which has a few branches around Connecticut. And so it focuses on like LGBTQ inclusivity. So we go to these organizations and we just ensure that no student is marginalized regardless of their sexuality. We've worked with the McGivney Community Center in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and then with Girl Scouts. And this has been an organization that's been near and dear to my heart because it really just shows, I think, that today there's sort of a gap between women and careers in STEM and just choosing STEM field majors, and especially in university. And so being able to inspire young students and especially girls and teach them that and give them like a head start on STEAM and show them that it's a possibility, I think is really, really important in bridging these gaps. So libraries' involvement with STEAM and with like incorporating it into your programs. I think that STEM is sort of like essential to library programming. And I think there are a lot of free and easy ways that libraries can incorporate STEAM into their programming and into their events in order to sort of bridge that gap, especially like educational injustice. And so I personally did Girls Who Code growing up. And so I know that's a free program. There's a website down below that has like STEM programming, especially catered towards females, but it has just lots of free STEM coding sessions that I think really provide a good foundation for girls who are interested in careers that relate to coding and STEAM. And then also First Robotics. So First Robotics is, it's like a robotics competition. And so many libraries have like their own First Robotics teams. And so these teams receive funding from First Robotics or other organizations. And they put together they have like a problem and they put together these projects and they compete. And so I think that's a really good way for students, especially older students, to be able to get a hands-on STEM experience. But also there's lots of mentorship opportunities within First Robotics because they have younger sections available for students that are a little bit younger. And then I know Hour of Code is another organization that creates a lot of free STEAM opportunities for students. And so they have lots of different programs and ways that students can get engaged with STEAM. And then lastly, I think just using high school mentors. When I was a high schooler, I I was really excited and eager to volunteer and make a difference. I think high schoolers are really this like untapped sort of pool of energy that I think libraries can really use. And I think that they're sort of like underrated in a way. All of our programs are run by high school students. And so I think if libraries find a way to set up like a way to use high school students as mentors and guide younger students with these programs, it's a way that high schoolers can sort of step into roles of leadership, but also they're also like making a difference within their community and engaging the youth. And then lastly, I mean, libraries are always welcome to join and be part of this Team STEAM journey. So what we have is we have an interest form over here, and we kind of have, and then you receive a starter pack. So included with the starter pack is like all the lessons that we have and the slideshows that accompany them. We have demo videos set up that also accompany the different lessons. We have lots of marketing materials and like sample email outlines and proposals for high school students or libraries that are interested in running this program. And it's all for free. And then we also have like sample lesson here. So this is an elevator lesson that we've run before. So this is just a little outline of how the program, like how the lessons are laid out and how we do that. Yeah, so.
That's fantastic. That's so wonderful. And it's terrific that you have made it so easy for us to and our community to tap into your knowledge and your info base, and that's just it's really great. And I really agree with you in terms of tapping into the whole high school, the energy and the excitement that they bring to these kinds of programs is really wonderful. I think if there are questions, put them in the chat, and I think Brian is here to have a look at those and bring those forward. But I really liked what you had to say about the program bringing together the collaboration and communication, like the softer skills than the actual STEAM skills. And do you see that with kids who are doing things and how they cooperate and do things together?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's nice because since we've been running this program for quite some time now, we get to work with a lot of the same students. So we have repetitive students that come. And so working with them like the first time and then seeing them like 5-6 sessions down the line, you can really see that they've gotten they're more confident. They're some students even they'll help other students next to them that might be struggling, that might be newer to the program. And so you can really see that they've sort of developed a lot of these softer skills that I mentioned. But also, I think with our program at times, we do a lot of group and collaborative work. And so compromising and learning how to sort of deal with internal conflicts, I think, is another skill that these students have really picked up on. And we've never really encountered any like bickering or any like fighting or anything like that. So I think it just shows that STEAM is really a way of uniting people and just sort of, yeah, just uniting people and really helping them forge friendships and relationships.
That's wonderful. The other thing that I really wanted to comment on too was the problem solving, but the failure. Failure is really a hard thing, and we always try and get people to talk about failure and what didn't work and what we learned from it. But I think one of our other speakers talked about science and technology and the prototyping that you're used to things not working out, try something different. And I think that is just so wonderful because it's really hard. I mean, we as librarians often, we want everything to be perfect, ordered, whatever. And we don't want things to fail. So it's hard for us to actually do that. But I think this is a real way of learning about that. So I really like that. Brian, have we got some other questions coming along?
We do have a couple of questions. The first one is, let me go back to feed loop. What advice do you have for teens wanting to give back to their community and set up STEAM opportunities for students?
So I was like in every high schooler's shoes, like not even like 2-3 years ago. So I don't know if my advice would really go that far, but I would just say like, just sort of, there's always a need. And I think first just sort of establishing like what that need is always important. Like during the COVID pandemic, it was just like the lack of engagement. Like there just wasn't any sort of extracurriculars available. But then today I feel like it's more of like, there isn't, like there's educational injustice. So just first determining what that need is, and then just finding a way to like implement that. And also just sort of tapping into existing establishments. And that's where I think libraries are so important, because libraries are really the foundations to so many communities. Our library has so many events and programmings and opportunities available. And so it already has hundreds of people that go to it on a daily basis. So reaching out to organizations that already have sort of the infrastructure set and working with them to create like a solution, or to work to like sort of implement like a STEM program or whatever it is that you're trying to do, I think is important. So just like using kind of what already exists and just like adding to that and contributing to that it's kind of like how I approach Team STEAM. And I think it's a good way to create like new innovative programming.
Awesome. The next question we have for you is, do you have any plans to follow up with the students to gauge their impact of your curriculum and exposure for these students? As a business student, any thoughts on how to take this to the next level?
So sorry, what was the first question?
The first question was, do you have any plans to follow up with the students to gauge impact of their curriculum and exposure for these students?
So our students are kind of young, so we haven't really done any feedback directly from the students yet, but I think that is definitely a very good idea, and we should implement that. But in the past, we've surveyed parents when we were doing our online sessions. So we just sort of asked them, what are some changes that you see? Are there any skills that you think that your student has learned? Like, what do you think are there skills that you'd want to see them develop and learn? And then with the in-person sessions, we've worked with the librarians themselves and the community centers themselves, and we've kind of received feedback from them. But I think in the future, we definitely want to set up like a sort of like a temperature check form or a feedback survey where we can ask students, what do you think about this? Did you find this helpful? Did you not find this helpful? Stuff like that. But and then pertaining to, I think, to the second question, yes, I do hope to use my business degree to further Team STEAM. Right now, we're currently finishing up the paperwork for our nonprofit organization. So I know there'll be a lot of paperwork and like red tape kind of work that has to be done with the tax filing and stuff like that. But also I think that sort of provides a really good background to help expand the program and do that in a sustainable way.
No, that's great. A couple more questions for you. Someone made a comment that they love what you're doing with Team STEAM. How do you plan to keep it going after you graduate and move on to your next career?
So I Team STEAM is like, I call it like my baby. It's very near and dear to my heart. So I don't think I'm ever gonna take a step back from Team STEAM. I think I'm gonna continue being a part of it, maybe not in the day-to-day operations, but I will definitely play some role in Team STEAM. I don't know how that'll play out to be, but I think that what's really important is that we have a really, really good like we're able to pass the program down to high schoolers after us. And there's a really nice transition process that we've been working on to create that sort of smooth and efficient passing of the torch on. So I got lucky because my sister's actually still in high school. So she's been helping me out with the program and helping with more of the day-to-day operations while I'm at university. But I think just, again, helping high schoolers sort of grow into that leadership role and then eventually being able to pass the program on to them and just keeping the cycle going is a way that the program can continue to stay alive. But also, once you sort of establish yourself into a bigger organization like a library, there's just like a demand for the program, and you get so much exposure. We just have volunteers like just applying and wanting to join the program. So that's just also been nice.
Yeah, cool.
That's really wonderful.
Yeah. What's the next one? Can you discuss how you market various programs so not only students are made aware of their existence and accomplishments, but the public as a whole?
So I would say we really kind of just marketed within our community at first. I think Facebook has been a really good resource and lots of Facebook groups. We have a lot of local ones. So we would just post pamphlets, flyers about that with Google Forms. But also recently, our program has been doing a lot more events and conventions and speaking opportunities. And so being able to market that towards like teachers and other educators and now in here librarians has kind of given us like a vast demographic that we've been trying to cater towards. And we've been getting not only like high school volunteers that are interested, but also teachers that are interested in starting this as an after school program. And so I think just trying to get as much exposure as possible through different events and through different media sources, articles, has been a way for us to sort of market ourselves, but beyond just the student demographic.
Oh no, great.
That's great. Brian, if your voice holds up,
Yeah.
tell us how you came to find out about this program.
Yeah, so while Kirti was still in high school, so last year, one of my partnerships introduced me to her. What was it? At the educating group or Three Ducks Design. They're both raved about everything Kirti's doing. Like, you have to meet this wonderful person. She's doing things that are far beyond most high schoolers. So check her out. So I reached out. One of the things that made me very excited with Kirti's perspective was she said something along the lines of, I believe that libraries are breeding grounds for ideas. And I was like, I like that quote. So it's stuck in my head. And it's a really interesting perspective because not many people are doing what her thought process was. Like, I don't know many high schoolers, let alone college students, that go through, well, I see a need for STEAM or STEM, and I want to implement new ideas or new processes for the community as a whole to benefit from it. And so Kirti had a solution. I went for it. And he had like hundreds and hundreds of students that have gained knowledge from those experiences. And so that's what really like made me excited for the work that you're doing.
That's wonderful. And I will do the next question so you can save yourself.
Thanks.
How do you help students explore careers and imagine their future selves?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we actually use a process called the engineering design process for all of our projects and programs. So we like to tell students to put themselves in the shoes of an engineer or a scientist or an architect or an artist, and they go through that process in every single lesson. So it changes for every single student based on who they choose to impersonate as well. So I think that sort of tying that career aspect into it and helping students like envision and use this sort of process and having them like tweak the process based on the career path that they choose has been a really great way for them to be exposed to different career opportunities that all relate to STEAM, but are so different from each other, and all solve problems and all make a difference in this world, but again, are so different from each other. And I think that growing up, I was very confused as to what I wanted to do, and I still don't really have a clear idea. And so I think that something that I did and my parents really emphasized was always just trying new things and experiencing and learning through doing. And so I tried everything. Like I did an EMT course, I did, I did like cooking classes, I did robotics. And so the opportunity that I had and being able to try so many different careers was really helped me, and it kind of gave me like an idea of what I wanted to do. And so that's what we hope to bring to other students and help them kind of start at a young age.
I really like that because kids have such great imagination that if you can channel it into, okay, how could you use this as a career and think about it, rather than I want to be a fireman or I want to be a whatever, but take it those next sort of steps to really envision how they could use it. I really, really like that. That is really wonderful. Excuse me. Any other questions that you have, Brian?
Yeah, there's one left that's in the chat, and it's actually now there's two. I love hearing about your program. Thank you. What kind of skills do the high schoolers who have participated in volunteering to STEAM learn from their experiences? So have you been tracking what they gain from it and how their arc of education has changed?
Yeah. So what was actually super cool is that we just had a lot of the high schoolers that volunteered were kind of in my graduating class as well. And so we all had to go through the college application process. And so what was super cool and what was super unique was that Team STEAM was such a big part of all of their applications. And when we were kind of sharing essays and just talking about what we had talked about, all of these students were like, it just gave me such an amazing like leadership opportunity. And they also said like it made them patient, it made them resilient because you're working with students that are obviously younger. And it helped them sort of it almost doesn't make you mature, but I think it like being responsible for others and sort of having to care gives you a sense of a maturity, I'd say. And so we have a video that we made for a convention that we went to where we interviewed our volunteers, and we're like, why do you do Team STEAM? What's important for you? And through that process, we were able to sort of gain a lot of insight to what the benefit was for the high school volunteers and how this had affected them and their careers, and helped them get into colleges and make a difference within their community and become leaders.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And I think probably you will be hearing from a lot of our audience in the future about the program and how they might bring it to their communities. So thank you so much for your presentation today, and good luck with your program at NYU. And we will be keeping our eye on the Team STEAM program. And we're taking a break now, and then people will have a chance to visit our exhibits and then head into our sessions later in the day. And at the end of the day, we'll have our lead lounge. You're free to join us, Kirthi, and try out a new platform for how we connect with our community. So thank you again for being here and doing this, and good luck in the future.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.